Hey guys, happy Thursday. Welcome back to my series on what seeds you need to start and transplant each week in Zone 8. This week is our last week of this series. You have made it officially to the summer months. Everything should be going outside this week. So what you should have left is your peppers, your squashes, your pumpkins, your melons. All of that is ready to go outside. Now, I want to say this with a huge caveat. You need to check your 10-day weather forecast and make sure there's not going to be any nights below 40 degrees. Peppers are really frost tender, and they're going to get very upset with you and get stunted and not produce a lot of peppers if you put them outside when it's going to get colder than that. So check your 10-day forecast, but this week is when on the schedule you should be putting those peppers in. Exciting in this week's video, we're going to be putting in a tomato trellis down the middle row here. So on our middle rows, we're going to put all of my tomatoes. I think I have like 40 tomatoes. I'm not sure actually that they're all gonna fit. Some of them might have to get sprinkled in my raised beds over here. But we're gonna be doing the same system that they do over at Roots and Refuge. If you haven't seen Jess's channel, definitely go check it out. It's a really great channel. She's a wealth of knowledge on gardening and has like books and stuff. Far more advanced than me, but hey, we're having fun. And so we're gonna be putting a row of cattle panels down that row. And instead of like the panels that I have here on my fence, they're actually going to be about 2 feet above the ground. So we're going to mount the panels higher on the T-post. We won't hammer in the T-post as far. And that will allow for a lot of airflow around the base of your tomatoes. Tomatoes need a lot of airflow. It's really important that you go ahead and space those 18 inches apart and trim off their bottom branches. And that way they can get lots of air underneath. That prevents different diseases like blight and etc. We bought all the materials for that project and an irrigation project, but we're probably not going to be doing that till next week, so make sure you're subscribed so you can check out how to put in drip irrigation, which really is the best way to water tomatoes. When you water from the sky on tomatoes, they're more likely to get disease. Basically, like too much humidity on their leaves and on the upper parts of the plant can cause them to get different diseases on their leaves, which isn't good. So that's why it's best to put in drip, which we're going to be doing next week. So make sure you're subscribed so you see that. But I'm going to put it on a time lapse for you guys so you can watch William put in this system. I have to go do some grad school stuff while he's doing it, but he's an awesome husband for doing that for me. We've had a lot going on this week. It's been a really busy week. Some big news coming out later that we're going to be excited to share with you guys when the time comes. After he's done putting in those cattle panels, I'm going to come out here and plant my tomatoes. And so I will give an instructional video about how to do that. There is a specific way that you want to plant your tomatoes that will allow them to grow even more roots and make them even stronger plants. So definitely stick around for that. All right, let's get to the time lapse.
All right, so we started with spacing out and marking out spots 8 feet apart. The cattle panels are 16 feet long, and so you want to have 3 posts per panel. So we marked those spots, and then I ditched out and let William finish hammering all those in for me. He did a really awesome job. He finished it in 25 minutes, which was way faster. I thought it was going to take at least an hour because we didn't have the right tool. And then I came out and helped him put the panels on. That obviously takes 2 people because they're super long, and we just used zip ties to attach them.
All right, so the trellis is up. As you can see, William did an awesome job getting those posts in. Our father-in-law actually has one of the like real tools, but he still has it. We forgot to borrow it last time we were there, so he just used his big camera, which works. But now I'm going to talk about how to plant tomatoes. So these are actually some tomato starts that I got from a local nursery, and they're a lot more mature than the tomato starts that I started. Here's like an example of when I started. And you know, they had like heated greenhouses and stuff, so their operation was a little more advanced than mine. But it works out because I'll have tomatoes sooner from these, but longer from mine, hopefully, so it's all good. But when you plant tomatoes, something that you can do to make your tomato plants a lot stronger is break off the bottom couple of branches. So you can see right here, I've got a leaf coming off. I'm gonna break that off, as well as this one right here, and these two on the next level as well. And I don't know if you can see, but this tomato is hairy all along its stem. All of those little hairs will become roots. And so I'll actually plant these tomatoes with this much stem in the bottom and just this little top sticking out. And that's gonna make these really strong because they're gonna have tons and tons of root system growing all the way down. And that's just a really great way to plant tomatoes. That doesn't work with all plants, like you can't just bury them deep for them to grow better, but with tomatoes, because they will grow roots along their stem, which is like why they have this little fur and just like the type of plant that they are, that will work for them. So I'm gonna go along and plant these along our trellis now, and they're still too short to reach up to the top, so they're not gonna be trellised yet, but as soon as they reach those top branches, I'll go ahead and clip them onto the cattle panel and work on spreading their branches out along the panel. You want to space your tomatoes about 18 inches apart because, like I've said, you want to have really good airflow between your tomatoes. That will help keep them from getting diseases. So let's get to planting. I have lots of different types of varieties. These are some big beefs. I have just so many different types, and throughout the season, I'll take you on tours and explain all the different varieties that I have and stuff, so you can check it out. So make sure you're subscribed so you can see that. But I'll probably put you guys on another time lapse with a little bit of a better angle so you can see these going in. So I thought I'd show you a close-up on this last one. Oh, we got something growing right there. So I'm planting one of these super sweet 100s, which is a cherry tomato. Makes like a lot of cherry tomatoes. And you can see I've already clipped off a couple branches, and I'm gonna try and bury it as far as I can down. We've done a method here where we put cardboard down first, over top of our soil, because we have really clay soil. So you see I got it pretty deep. It's gonna come up to about right there once I get this all evened out. And there we go, that's all you need to do. And then of course, oh, that's like a walnut. Of course we wanna water all of these in. So I'm just gonna do these last two real quick and talk to you a little more about them. So this one is a sweet million, same idea. It makes just like a ton of cherry tomatoes. So you want to slide it out, keeping as much of the roots as you can, and then pull off these little low branches. I'm gonna leave that one, it seems pretty strong. Put it in and bury that deep. So these actually aren't as tall as some of the other ones, but you can see our cardboard is already breaking down, which is awesome. And there have been tons of earthworms in this, so I know that it's really doing well. Boom, there we go. Same thing, this is the last one for this row. I have a lot more tomatoes, so I'm gonna have to put a couple in cages in the beds. But break off all those stems, turn upside down to get as much of the roots out as you can with the plant, and then bury up until those first couple little leaves right there. And I'm kind of just breaking up. There's another earthworm. Oops, come over here, little guy. And breaking up some of that little cardboard pieces. Ooh, my tag. And getting him settled into his new home. There we go. And like I said, so I won't trellis these yet until they get about here. And then I'll start pinning them up to this wall. And they're short now because I buried them really deep, but they're gonna have a lot of roots very quickly and gonna grow really quickly to get up to here. So yeah, and on this trellis that we put up, you can see we just spaced the posts 8 feet apart, and then we put all of the little pegs facing this way, and like the fence kind of rests on those pegs. And then we just use zip ties because we might move this around. This isn't permanent yet, so we just use zip ties on all of these. But there are some like more official metal ties you can use, but we're not going to use those yet until we know exactly where we want everything. You're not supposed to put tomatoes on both sides of this. I put them all on that side. They'll all trellis up like on the back here because there's a little bit more space on that side. Because like I've said, tomatoes need a lot of air. So you wouldn't want to put one right here and one like on this side because it's gonna be less than 18 inches and they will overcrowd each other. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Come back next week for that irrigation video. It's sure to be a really good one. I'm really excited about these tomato trellises. They're super sturdy. You're gonna be able to hold all the weight of the hundreds of pounds of tomatoes that I'm gonna grow this year. Just speak that into existence for today. So yeah, thank you for hanging out. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Bye.